Hello and welcome to Truth versus Hype. We'll have the Foreign Minister of Antigua in just a second on a new twist in the case of Mehul Choksi, the latest fugitive that India is struggling to bring back to face Indian justice. Now, Choksi, as we know, has become a citizen of the tiny island nation of Antigua in the West Indies. Just as the Indian law was closing in on him, he was actually getting his citizenship. According to the Antiguan government's records, he got his citizenship of November of last year and then took an oath of allegiance on 15th January of this year. This is just 2 weeks before the CBI filed FIRs against him and his nephew Nirav Modi for defrauding Indian banks, especially the Punjab National Bank, of crores of rupees. Now, Choksi, in effect, has bought his Antiguan citizenship under a citizenship by investment program that the government has put on offer, where he paid about $133,000 or less than 1 crore rupees to effectively get that citizenship. Now, there were media reports suggesting that Choksi had left Antigua, but his lawyer in Antigua issued a statement saying he was very much there as a citizen of that country and, of course, that he's innocent of all charges. Now, Choksi in a statement said he has taken the Antiguan citizenship to expand his jewelry business in the Caribbean, but also avail of the 132 countries he can now travel to without a visa. These include Schengen countries as well as the UK. A dispute of sorts has broken out about how he got his citizenship. Antigua's government says they did the due diligence on Choksi, vetting him via Interpol and other agencies. But CBI says Interpol never approached them on any information on Choksi. India has now approached Antigua, and Antiguan officials say they will honor India's requests, but within the ambit of the law. Now, the problem is that India does not have an extradition treaty with Antigua. Okay, now I spoke earlier today to Everly Paul Chet Green. He is the Foreign Minister of Antigua, and I began by asking him whether he has, as we speak now, as we recorded the conversation, have had any intimation from India about Mehul Choksi.
No, I have not personally seen any notes from India. Let me be very clear in stating that this has been a very difficult week for me as well. My father passed, and so I was making plans for funeral arrangements. But nothing has come to my attention, even during this difficult period, from India. If there is something, I believe I would have been alerted. And I'm sure that, it will be dealt with by my officers.
Right, so I'm very sorry, of course, to hear about your father. Deepest condolences. That's something we had no idea about. But just wanted to ask you that when you say that there will be a request from India and you will act on it, now how will you do that, given that you don't have an extradition agreement with India?
Well, I did make it clear in a previous interview, I said, notwithstanding the fact that we do not have an extradition treaty with India, I made it very clear, lucid, that should we receive a request from the Indian government, we will treat with it.
Okay. Even though, as you just said, there is no extradition treaty?
Even if we do not have one. That has to do with a couple of things. One, it has to do with our own beliefs and our own policies and positions with respect to global good governance. It also has to do with the fact that we are very, very, very gung-ho on protecting the integrity of our jurisdiction, our country, and also our CIP program. So India, as well, is a friendly country to Antigua Barbuda, and we will cooperate with India once a request is made from the Indian government on this matter.
Okay, but the question still remains, though, that how did you manage to give citizenship to this gentleman, to Mehul Choksi, even though he had such serious charges against him?
Well, and here's where I think I will ask you as a journalist to continue to do your probing and to report accurately, factually to the people of India and to the world that the application for citizenship in Antigua Barbuda by the gentleman as you referred to him was made last year, 2017. That the Antigua and Barbuda government, or the Antigua Barbuda Citizenship by Investment Program, did its multi-tiered due diligence on the gentleman. And at all turns, those reports, those background checks indicated that he was someone fitting for citizenship. And so when he was granted in January of this year, there was no indication from the background checks done of him having any kind of infractions or anything of this nature in his character background checks. And that is why we do not hesitate to say that if this is in fact that we will cooperate, because when we granted citizenship, we did so not knowing of this development. We would not have, and I want to be very clear, categorical at least, we would not have granted citizenship on Antigua Barbuda had we known of the situation. Our CIP program is the best program, best operated program in the region.
Right.
And it's not best because of whims and fancy, it's best because of the time we take, because of the various cares we attach, and the importance, the significance we attach to the due diligence background checks we do on every single applicant. Not just him, but every applicant goes through the same diligent, rigorous background check to ensure that nothing comes to the program or to the country by way of miscreant. We are very, very clear that we acted at all times in an honorable manner, in a legal manner, and that we did not know what we are now hearing about at the time of the application or at the time of the approval of the application in 2017 and 2018 respectively.
All right, Minister, thanks very much indeed for that, and apologies for the somewhat unclear audio to the line to Antigua. But essentially what you were saying is significant, because you're saying that when you were granting him the citizenship, you didn't know that he had these serious charges against him, and had you known that you would not have granted him citizenship, and now you're going to go back and check what exactly to do about him. We also spoke to David Dorset. He is the lawyer for Mehul Choksi in Antigua. He's the gentleman who issued the Choksi statement, and we had a very brief conversation, but essentially he confirmed that Mehul Choksi is very much in Antigua. Let's listen.
I can confirm what I delivered yesterday and what has been at least published in the Antigua Observer.
Okay.
Is true and correct.
Okay.
That is a statement I delivered at that time on the authorization of Mr. Choksi.
Okay.
We stand by that statement. We are not wavering from that statement.
Okay.
It is true and correct.
Essentially, I think the point that he was making in the statement is that the charges against him are baseless and that he continues to remain a citizen of Antigua.
Yes, sir, but I said I am not making anything further than what has already been said.
In that statement.
That is correct, sir.
And is there any way of trying to reach Mr. Choksi himself through your good offices?
I'm not authorized to, as far as that is concerned. But he's my client. I am in contact with him regularly.
Okay.
And that is all I'm able to say at this point. I'm not able to say anything further than what has already been said.
Okay, so I won't press any further. But just to clarify, one thing which I wasn't very clear in the statement is that is he currently residing in Antigua?
That is correct, sir, yes.
Okay, he's very much in Antigua. Okay.
Yes, and we have made that statement already in the press release.
Okay. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Dorset.
So David Dorset there, Choksi's lawyer, confirming that he is very much in Antigua and that, as he put it, he's regularly in touch with him, which I suppose would be the case of any good lawyer. But also something interesting has come up, and let's just play you those pictures. Now, what has happened is that since the story is broken, we have been amongst the many visitors to Antigua's website, their citizenship investment program website, where essentially you invest money in the country and you get citizenship. And that website is actually shut down now. So we don't know if this is a coincidence, because I'm sure there's a lot of media interest in this story in India and lots of people are visiting that site. So we don't know if this is just a coincidence, a technical glitch that seems to have happened at the same time as the story was breaking, or whether there's something more to it. But that's what you get when you go on the website. Intriguing. Anyway, joining us tonight, we have with us Sandeep Singh. He's author and founder Swastik, a BJP supporter. Also joining us is Mohammad Khan, spokesperson of the Congress, and Sameer Chaudhary, a Delhi-based lawyer whose expertise is in white-collar crime. Thank you all so much for being on the show. Sandeep Singh, I want to ask you that, to some extent, there is good news with the Antiguan foreign minister, as you heard, telling us that he will consider India's request even though we don't have an extradition treaty with Antigua. But it does beg the question, Sandeep Singh, that how did Mehul Choksi manage to go so far down the line, getting his citizenship, getting himself, he takes the pledge of this country, of the citizenship of this country, literally under the noses of the investigating agencies. Isn't this a big failure on the part of the government and its agencies?
I won't call it a failure on the part of the government and the agency.
Okay.
If you look, there is a huge paradigm shift from 2014. Till then, these same officials were told to facilitate the exit of any culprit from India.
Yes.
Right from T.T. Krishnamacharya became finance minister.
Yes.
To Warren Anderson was escorted out of India, and now suddenly the same officials are being told to catch the culprit. So it's a paradigm shift for our officials.
The fact is that when you say these officials have done nothing while all these people have left.
No, I wouldn't say that they have done nothing.
They've left under the watch of previous governments as well. But how can you say anything has changed? There is Mehul Choksi. He's sitting in Antigua. Nirav Modi, we don't know where he is. Lalit Modi. Vijay Mallya.
So we'll figure it out soon, because we have seen how the court have acted not only in UK against Vijay Mallya, but we saw how the court reacted on Thursday in USA for Nirav Modi also. So yes, they are a step ahead as of now,
it's trying
but they will not be always a step ahead.
It's trying to close the stable after the horse is bolted, is it?
But yes, a criminal will always commit a crime and run away. So no official or no police always knows which crime is going to be committed where.
But that's the failure.
We must understand that this crime was going on from longer time before this government came.
That's my point. That's my point. That is, to me, that is failure then, isn't it? I mean, what else? How else do you
So officials are not used to catching the culprit. We have seen culprits getting away with the support of government. This is the first time we have saw a government is chasing a culprit so fast.
Sir, it has been 5 years, almost 5 years of this government. You're saying officials are still not used to catching culprits. Mohammad Khan is barely able to contain himself. But Mohammad Khan, the fact is that, look, this idea of financial fraud and crime is not unique to this government alone. But now there is a point that Sandeep Singh is making, that there is now far greater diligence, there's far less tolerance. There's far less tolerance when it comes to courts in terms of investigating agencies, the way they have managed now to not just attach the assets of these people, but if you look at the court orders, both in the case of Vijay Mallya and in the case of Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi, international courts are not giving them any relief.
I would actually argue otherwise. I would say there is an increase in the amount of rhetoric and empty talk that's happening, but simultaneously there's been a weakening of our institutions. There has been a failure of diligence. And let me point to a pattern here, Sandeep ji. First, Nirav Modi leaves the country 20 days before his lookout circular is issued. He's made aware. He is not only aware, he's able to tell his entire extended family, Vasuji, and take them along with him. Breach of intelligence.
Hold on. I'm not talking about the part that he managed to get away. I'm talking about the fact that Vijay Mallya is having a very difficult time in courts abroad. So is Nirav Modi. So is Mehul Choksi. And look at also the statement from the government of Antigua. They're saying that you heard him. He said, we are going to make an exception in this case if it turns out that he's a fraud. So suppose these people are now sent back. They start coming back. Where will the Congress stand then?
Of course, we will celebrate it. We will finally celebrate the fact that this government has done something in its 4 years of lackluster performance. But there's one very important thing, Vasuji, and you must understand this. What about all of those people here who have aided and abetted Vijay Mallya, Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi in their escape? As you pointed out, there has been a breach and a series of lapses. All three of them share one thing in common, Vasuji. They all knew beforehand. In Mallya's case, the LOC was suspended. He left. It was restored in 2015. Now, has anyone from the Home Ministry been held accountable? Has any officer been held accountable for this? No. And that's where I question this government's diligence. That's where I question this government's spine.
All right. Samir Chaudhary, now, as an expert in white-collar crime, when you see, for example, this Antigua route that people like Mehul Choksi have taken, that's not the only jurisdiction these days where you can quote-unquote buy citizenship. How difficult is it now going to be for the government, even with the government there saying we're a friendly government, we'll make an exception, how difficult is it going to be to actually try and bring someone like him to justice?
Indeed, it will be very difficult Firstly, because India has extradition arrangements with only 45 countries in the world.
Okay.
So if a fugitive wants to run away, there are a lot of options available to a fugitive.
Right.
Especially in this case, even though the Antiguan government has come forward and said that they're willing to cooperate, but what is important is even till date, no formal request has been sent by the government of India. So
Yes.
where is the intent?
This is
They
true.
are ready to cooperate, but
This
where
is
is the
the first
intent?
thing he said, that so far there's been no formal request.
Absolutely. There was no provisional arrest. There is no red corner notice. There is no extradition request. A charge sheet has been filed. An
Right.
extradition request should have been filed by now.
Right.
Especially when the government is coming forward and
Well,
saying that we will cooperate.
Well, but in this case, of course, we don't have an extradition arrangement with Antigua, so
Exactly.
maybe that's
With
something
re-
which
with
is not
reference-
available to
with-
them as an option.
with
But some
re-
other form of reaching out to them. Is
With
what you're
reference
saying.
to the cooperation extended, there should have been a formal request already made. We've been debating
Why
this
is
for
that?
2-3 days.
Why is that not happened, you think, Sandeep Singh? Why has not a formal request been made as of date? We just heard the minister saying that.
Yeah, I think if our memory serves me correct, this news came on Thursday.
No, it came earlier in the
about,
week. It came earlier
okay,
in the
so
week.
let's say Monday. Let's assume it's Monday in that case. So my view, so I'm sure the government is working. It's not as simple, like getting to a police station and filing an FIR.
Right.
So by Monday or Tuesday, we'll come to know there is a process which must be followed. So I'm sure the government will be working on it, and there is no reason to doubt the government. They have gone so far.